Hello fam, let's dive into this video.
A long time ago, in a peaceful village surrounded by tall trees, sweet mangoes, and quiet rivers, there lived a young girl named Cynthia. She was the daughter of Mama John and Papa John. Her parents were simple farmers who loved their daughter very much. Cynthia was not just beautiful, she was breathtaking. Her skin glowed like ripe palm oil under the sun. Her eyes sparkled like stars. Her lips were red and full. Her waist was slim, and her hair was thick, long, and black like night. People said the gods took their time to mold her. But with that beauty came a heart full of pride. Every morning, while others were working, Cynthia would wake up, wash her face, oil her skin, and sit in front of a small mirror her father had bought for her from a trader. She would twist her neck left and right, pout her lips, bat her lashes, and laugh. "Ha ha," she would giggle. "Who is more beautiful than Cynthia? No one. Not in this village, not in this world." She would whisper to herself, "Cynthia, you are like a goddess. You deserve to marry a king. Not just any king, but the richest, most powerful, most handsome king ever." Her mother would come into the room and sigh. "Cynthia, please help me peel the yam. We need to cook before your father returns from the farm." But Cynthia would hiss, "Me? Peel yam? My fingers are too fine to touch dirty yam. Let John or James do it. They are not as beautiful as me." Her mother would shake her head sadly and walk away. When other girls went to the stream to fetch water, Cynthia stayed behind to brush her hair. When the women swept the compound, she sat and painted her nails with palm oil and crushed hibiscus petals. When the village gathered for community work, Cynthia stayed indoors and posed in front of her mirror. Even the mirror seemed tired of her face. Her friends loved her, but she didn't return their kindness. One by one they began to marry. First Zara, then Queen, then Mark. But they didn't marry rich men. They married humble farmers, hunters, and fishermen. Cynthia laughed at them all. "Ha! Zara, look at your husband. His teeth are like roasted corn. Queen, your man rides a bicycle. Mark, yours doesn't even have shoes. What a joke." They tried to ignore her, but sometimes they cried in secret. Still, they were happy in their marriages, and that made Cynthia even more jealous. "Let them enjoy their poor love," she would say. "Cynthia will marry a king, wear gold from head to toe, and ride in a carriage pulled by white horses." One market day, the village was alive with sounds and colors. Women were selling tomatoes, peppers, and fresh okra. Children were running and laughing. Drummers played soft beats under a mango tree. Cynthia dressed herself in her finest wrapper and a shiny blouse that glistened like the morning sun. She tied her hair with bright red cloth and rubbed palm oil on her skin to glow. Then she walked to the market like a queen. Her waist danced as she walked. People stopped to look. "She's beautiful, but her heart is empty," one old woman whispered. "She walks like the ground owes her something," a young boy giggled. But Cynthia didn't care. She loved the attention. Suddenly, she bumped into someone. Thud! Her basket fell. So did the other person's firewood. It was Mama Michael, the oldest and most respected woman in the village. Her back was bent from age, her hands shaky, and her legs slow. The firewood scattered all over the place, and the old woman fell on her knees. Everyone gasped. "Oh no! That's Mama Michael." Cynthia stood tall, looked down at her, and said with disgust, "Why are you standing in my way like an old goat? You ruined my outfit. Do you even know who I am?" The old woman looked up, her voice calm. "My child, I'm sorry. My eyes are not as sharp as they used to be." "Then stay in your hut," Cynthia shouted. "Don't bring your rotten wood near my beautiful clothes again." People began to whisper, "Apologize, Cynthia. She's an elder. She's old enough to be your grandmother." But Cynthia turned her back, hissed, and walked away. Mama Michael picked up her firewood slowly, shaking her head. Then she raised her hands to the sky and said in a voice like thunder, "Cynthia, the mirror you worship will soon turn its back on you. May your beauty melt like candle wax. May your pride become your prison. You shall not see beauty again until you live with the ugliest man on earth. Then, and only then, shall your heart learn. The market went silent. Even the birds stopped chirping. That night, Cynthia looked into her mirror and felt a strange heat on her skin. She laughed nervously. What kind of joke is this? But the mirror cracked slightly. Her reflection shimmered. The next morning, Cynthia screamed so loud, the entire village heard. What is this? This is not me. Her smooth skin had become rough like sandpaper. Her nose had grown wide. Her once full lips were dry and cracked. Her hair was falling out in patches. Her once beautiful eyes were dull and lifeless. She ran outside crying. Chickens scattered. Children screamed and ran. Mama, Mama, look at me, she wept. Mama, I'm cursed. Look at what has happened to your beautiful daughter. Mama John wept too. My daughter, this is the result of pride. You hurt Mama Michael. You refused to listen. You mocked others. I'll apologize. I'll say sorry. I'll give her food. I'll sweep her hut. But when they went to Mama John's house, the old woman was not there. No one knew where she had gone. Cynthia became a shadow. Her mirror was covered with cloth. She no longer walked proudly. She stayed indoors hiding. Villagers gossip. Did you hear what happened to Cynthia? Her beauty vanished like smoke. Now she looks like the palm kernel shell. The once proud Cynthia was now silent, humble, and lonely. And that was when a mysterious traveler arrived in the village. He wore a long robe, his face hidden by a straw hat. He asked for Cynthia and gave her a message. Your curse can only be lifted if you marry the oldest, ugliest man alive. A man with rotten teeth, smelly skin, and a heart full of demands. Marry him not with your body but with your soul. Only then shall you be free. Cynthia cried for days. Must I marry a monster to become whole again? But deep inside she knew this was her test. Her journey of pain and transformation had just begun. Cynthia sat alone in her room, refusing food. Her skin had grown worse. Her beauty, once her pride, had become her sorrow. The villagers stopped whispering. They no longer feared or envied her. Some even pitied her. One morning there was a loud knock at the door. Gnup, gnup. Her mother opened it, and there stood a strange man. Short, hunched, with a big belly, long white beard, and skin as wrinkled as dried okra. His mouth had only 3 brown teeth, and he carried a long walking stick that made a thump with every step. His clothes were mismatched and torn. His eyes were sharp like a lizard's, and his breath smelled like old snails. I am Judas, he said with a crooked smile. I have come to marry Cynthia. Mama John nearly fainted. Marry who? Cynthia. I heard she's looking for someone like me. Cynthia came out of the hut, her heart beating fast. When she saw him, she froze. Her first thought, he looks worse than the curse itself. But then, her reflection in the water beside the house reminded her of who she had become. She remembered the words of the messenger. You must marry the ugliest man on earth. Not with your body but your soul. Only then shall you be free. She looked at Judas. He was chewing something. Loudly. Smack, smack, smack. Smelled like fermented beans. Do you accept me? Judas asked, picking his nose with his pinky. Cynthia swallowed hard and nodded slowly. Yes. The villagers came out in shock. Ah. Cynthia is marrying this creature. Wonders shall never end. Maybe she needs help. The wedding was simple. No music, no dancing, just quiet shock and silence. Judas wore a torn red wrapper. Cynthia wore a faded dress and no jewelry. Her pride had been washed away. That night, in their small, stinky hut, Judas snored like thunder. The bed shook. The windows rattled. Grrrrrrhhh. Is it a lion? She whispered in fear. His feet smelled like rotten yam. He drooled in his sleep. He farted with every turn. Cynthia sat by the window, wide-eyed and shaking her head. I am in a nightmare. But I must endure. I must change. I must be better. As time goes on, Judas was not just ugly, he was mean. He ordered her like a servant. Cook my food now. My back is itching. Scratch it. Wash my feet. He complained about everything. This soup tastes like stone. Why are you breathing so loud? Be quiet. But through it all, Cynthia didn't complain. She woke early, cleaned the house, fetched water, cooked his food, washed his dirty clothes that smelled like forgotten onions. She smiled at children again. She apologized to her old friends. She began helping at the village stream, carrying firewood for elderly women, and greeting even the beggars. One day, a small girl tripped in the market. Cynthia rushed to help her, cleaned her bruises, and gave her food. Mama Michael, the old woman Cynthia had once insulted, was there, sitting quietly under a mango tree, watching. She whispered, she has changed." Later that night, Cynthia went to bed. Judas was snoring again, louder than ever. She looked up at the moon through the window and whispered, "If I ever become beautiful again, I promise I will never laugh at anyone again. I will never forget what it feels like to be broken." That night, Mama Michael appeared in her dream, glowing like moonlight. "My daughter," the old woman said gently, "your beauty is back, not in your face but in your heart. You are now truly beautiful. When you wake, you shall see." And when Cynthia opened her eyes the next morning, she rushed to the water pot and looked in. She screamed. But this time it was joy. Her skin was smooth. Her eyes were bright. Her hair was full again. Her lips glowed. Her beauty had returned, but stronger, deeper, fuller. She ran outside singing. The whole village gathered. "She is beautiful again. The curse is broken." Judas came out blinking. He saw her and stepped back. "You're not my wife. My wife is ugly." Cynthia smiled kindly. "Thank you, Judas. You were part of my journey." But who will cook for me now?" he cried. She handed him a calabash of food. "May you find someone who loves you as you are." And with that she left the hut. Her parents cried and embraced her. Soon after, a handsome and rich prince from a far kingdom came to the village. He had heard of Cynthia's change, how she grew from pride to humility. He saw her and fell in love, not just with her face but with her heart. Their wedding was the biggest the village had ever seen. Dancers danced, drums echoed, women ululated. Even the trees swayed in joy. But Cynthia never forgot. She treated her servants kindly. She greeted every old woman. She played with children. She even visited Judas once and gave him new clothes. She no longer worshipped her mirror, because now her beauty came from within. Moral lesson: pride leads to a fall, but humility lifts the soul. Beauty without kindness is like a fruit that looks sweet but tastes bitter. Always respect others, no matter how small, old, or poor they may seem. Change begins when the heart learns.
Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more videos.